Hello. Uh, Starting on page 591. A windy night. The lids of GI cans blow clanging across the parade ground. Sentries in their idleness are practicing Queen Anne salutes. Sometimes gusts of wind come that rock the jeeps on their springs, even the empty deuce-and-halfs and civilian bobtail rigs. Shock absorbers groan deeply in discomfort. In the peaks of wind, living pine trees move, lined above the last stand drop-off into the North Sea. Walking at a brisk pace, but out of step, across the lorry-scarred spaces of old Krupp works here, Doctors Muffage and Spontoon look anything but conspiratorial. You take them immediately for what they seem, a tiny beachhead of London respectability here in benighted Cuxhaven. Tourists in this semi-civilized colony of sulphur shaken into the wells of blood, syrettes and tourniquets, junkie MOs and sadistic corpsemen. A colony they were spared for the duration, thank heaven, Muffage's brother being highly placed in a certain ministry, Spontoon having been technically disqualified because of a strange hysterical stigma shaped like the ace of spades and nearly the same color, which would appear on his left cheek at moments of high stress, accompanied by severe migraine. Only a few months ago they felt themselves as fully mobilized as any British civilian, and thus amenable to the government requests. About the present mission, though, both are now in deep peacetime second thoughts. How quickly history passes these days. I can't think of why he asked us, Muffage stroking his full imperial, a gesture that manages only to look compulsive. Speaking in a voice perhaps too melodious for a man of his mass. You must know I haven't done any of these since 27. I assisted a few whilst I was interning, Spontoon recalls. That was during the great vogue they had at mental institutions, you know. I can name you a few national institutions where it's still in vogue. The medicos share a chuckle, full of that British Weltschmerz that looks so uncomfortable on their faces of the afflicted. See here, then, Spontoon, you'd rather assist me, is that it? Oh, either way, you know. I mean, it's not as if there'll be some chap with a book standing there, you know, writing it all down. I wouldn't be too sure. Weren't you listening? Didn't you notice anything enthusiastic? Obsessional. I wonder if Pointsman isn't losing his grip, sounding here remarkably like James Mason, loosing his crip. They are looking at each other now, separate nightscapes of Marston shelters and parked vehicles flowing darkly by together behind each face. The wind carries smells of brine, of beach, of petrol. A distant radio tuned to the General Forces program features Sandy McPherson at the organ. Oh, all of us, Spontoon begins, but lets it lapse. Here we are. The bright office is hung with crimson lipped, sausage-limbed petty-girl pin-ups. A coffee mess hisses in the corner. There's also a smell of rancid shoe dubbing. The corporal sits with his feet at the desk, absorbed in an American Bugs Bunny comic book. Slothrop, in answer to the Muffage's inquiry. Yes, the Yank in the pig suit. Well, he's in and out all the time, completely dotty. What are you lot then, MI6 or something? Can't discuss it, Rep Spontoon. Fancies himself a bit of a Nayland Smith, Spontoon does. Do you know where we might find a General Wyvern? This time of night, down to the alcohol dump most likely. Follow the tracks, head for all the noise. If I weren't on duty, I'd be there myself. Pig suit, frowns Muffage. Big bloody pig suit, yellow, pink, and blue, on my oath, replies the corporal. You'll know him when you see him. You wouldn't have a cigarette, one of you gentlemen, by any chance? Sounds of carousing reach them as they trudge along the tracks, past empty triple flats and tank cars. Alcohol dump. Fuel for the Nazi rockets, I'm told, if they ever get one in working order. Under a cold umbrella of naked light bulbs are gathered a crowd of army personnel, American sailors, NAAFI girls, and German Fräuleins, fraternizing, every last one of them, shamefully amid noise which becomes, as Muffage and Spontoon reach the edge of the gathering, a song, at whose center, with a good snootful, each arm circling a smiling, disheveled young Tootsie, ruddy-faced under the lights gone of apoplectic mauve, and leading the glee is the same General Wyvern they saw last in Pointsman's office back at 12th House, from a tank car whose contents, ethanol 75% solution, are announced in stark white stenciling along the side. Spigots protrude here and there, under which an incredible number of mess caps, china mugs, coffee pots, waste baskets, and other containers are being advanced and withdrawn. Ukuleles, kazoos, harmonicas, and any number of makeshift metal noisemakers accompany the song, which is an innocent salute to post-war, a hope that the end of shortages, the end of austerity is near. It's mouth-tripping time, mouth-tripping time. Time to open that icebox door. Well, yes, it's mouth-tripping time, mouth-tripping time. And once you've eaten some, you'll come for more. Mouth-tripping time, mouth-tripping time. It's something old but also very new. Life's so sublime, and mouth-tripping time. We hope you're all mouth-tripping too. Next chorus is soldiers and sailors all together for the first 8 bars, girls for the second, General Wyvern singing the next 8th solo, and Tootie to finish it up. Then comes a chorus for ukuleles and kazoos, and so on while everyone dances, black neckerchiefs whipping about like the mustaches of epileptic villains, delicate snoods unloosening to allow stray locks of hair to escape their tight rolls, skirt hems raised to expose flashing knees, and slips edged in pre-war Clooney lace, a frail light of smoky bat wings here under the white electricity. On the final chorus, the boys circle clockwise, girls anti-clockwise, the ensemble opening out into a rose pattern, from the middle of which dissipatedly leering tosspot General Wyvern, tankard aloft, is hoisted briefly like an erect statement. About the only non-participating here, aside from the 2 prowling surgeons, is Seaman Bodine, whom we left, you recall, carrying on in the bathtub at Sour Bummer's place back in Berlin, impeccable tonight in dress white, straight-faced and sober. He trudges among the merrymakers, thickly sprouting hair from jumper sleeves and V-neck, so much of it that last week he spooked and lost a connection just in from CBI Theatre with close to a ton of bang, who mistook him for a seagoing version of the legendary Yeti or Abominable Snowman. To make up some of what he blew on that one, Bodine is tonight promoting the first international runcible spoon fight between his shipmate Avery Purfell and an English commando named St. John Blattery. Place your bets, yes, the odds are an even 50-50, announces suave croupier Bodine, pushing through the gathered bodies, many of them far from upright, one shaggy hand clutching a wad of occupation script. With the other, from time to time, he will tug the big collar of his jumper around and blow his nose on it. Grommets on the hem of his t-shirt blinking, light bulbs dancing overhead in the wind. He's raised his own several shadows, thrashing in all directions and merging with others. Greetings, Gate. Need an opiate? Tiny red eyes and vast pink jello face and an avaricious smile. It's Albert Krypton, Corpse Master Striker of the USS Johnny Badass, who now produces from inside a secret jumper pocket a glass vial full of white tablets. Codeine, Jackson. It's beautiful here. Bodine sneezes violently and wipes the snot away with his sleeve. Not for any fucking cold, Krypton. Thanks. You seen Avery? He's in great shape. He was getting some last-minute practice down the goat hole when I came over. Listen, old buddy, begins the enterprising tar. This decrypts into 3 ounces of cocaine. Bodine comes up with a few squashed notes. Midnight, if you can. Told him I'd see him out at Putsy's after the fight. Solid. Hey, you checked under the barracks lately? Seems the CBI returnees get together to play marbles with opium balls. You can pick up hundreds if you're any good. Corpsman Krypton pockets his money and leaves Bodine flexing his thumb and thinking about it. Moves on copping feels, passing to drink from a shell case of grain alcohol and grapefruit juice, whilst dealing with the odd tablet of codeine. He has a brief paranoid episode as 2 red-hatted MPs show up, stroking their billy clubs and giving him, he fancies, pregnant looks. He slides into the night, peeling away, banking through the dark sky. He is coming on to a proprietary mixture known as Krypton Blue, so it is giddy passage to the dispensary, not without moments of deep inattention. Inside his connection, pharmacist Birdbury is conducting the last act of La Forza del Destino, crackling in from Radio Luxembourg and singing along. His mouth snaps shut as Krypton comes taxiing in. With him is what appears to be a gigantic multicolored pig, the plush nap of its coat reversed here and there, which widens the possible range of colors. Micrograms, Krypton striking his head dramatically. That's right, micrograms, not milligrams. Birdbury, give me something. I've OD'd. Shh! The dispenser's high forehead wrinkling in and out of operational cross furrows. Krypton goes back in among the shelves and watches the lighted room through a bottle of Pergoric till the opera's over. Comes back in time to hear the pig asking, "Well, where else would he head for it?" "I got third hand," Birdbury, laying down the hypodermic he's been using as a baton. "Ask Krypton here, he gets around a bit." "Greetings, Gate," says Albert. "Let's inoculate." "I hear Springer is supposed to be coming in through tonight. First I've heard, but go on out to Putsy's, why don't you? That's where all that sort of thing goes on." The pig looks up at the clock on the wall. "Got a funny schedule tonight is all. Look here, Krypton, there's a bigwig from Spog due in it here any moment, so whatever it was, you know." They haggle over the 3 ounces of cocaine, the pig politely withdrawing to leaf through an old News of the World, presently taping the last of the crystal-stuffed bottles to his bare leg. Krypton invites everyone to the Runcible Spoon fight. Bodine's holding some big money folks in from all over the zone. Seaman Bodine? Inquires the amazed plush pig. The king of Cuxhaven, Porky. Well, I ran him and aired once in Berlin. Tell him Rocket Man says howdy. Krypton, bell-bottom pulled up, opening one bottle just to see what he has, pausing, goggling. You mean that hash? Yep. Krypton snuffs a big fingerful of the flaky white into nostrils right and left. The world goes clarifying. Bitter snot begins to form in stubborn fist at the back of his throat. Already Potsdam pickup is part of the folklore of the zone. Would this pig here be trying to cash in on the glory of Rocket Man, whose existence Krypton has never been that sure of? Cocaine suspicions cringing and as mean as rats, shining bottles of 1,000 colors, voices from the radio, the drape and hand of the pig's shag coat as Krypton reaches out to stroke. No, it's clear the pig isn't looking for anything, isn't a cop, isn't dealing, or about to hustle anybody. Just wanted to see how it felt, you know, says Krypton. Sure. Now the doorway is suddenly full of red hats, leather and brass. Krypton stands very still, the top to open the cocaine bottle in one hand. Slothrop, sergeant in commanding, comes edging into the room, hands resting on his sidearm. The pig looks over at Birdbury, who's shaking his head. No, not me, as if he means it. Wasn't me either, Krypton feels he ought to mention. Well, somebody blew the whistle, the pig mutters, looking really hurt. Stand by, whispers Albert to the MP. Excuse me, moseying straight over to the wall, which he flicks, Slothrop at once dashing through all the shouting past Birdbury's desk, wham, into a tall rack of medicines. His straw stomach bounces him off of, but which then falls over on somebody else with a stupendous glass crash and scream. On down a pitch-black aisle, arms out to guide him to back exit, where he meets Krypton. Thanks. Quick! Outside they cut eastward, toward the Elbe and the docks, pounding along, skidding in mud puddles, stumbling over lorry ruts, wind sweeping them among the quonsets to bat them in the face, cocaine falling a little in white splashes from under Krypton's left bell-bottom. Behind them the posse are hollering and shining flashlights, but don't seem to know where they've gone. Good. Follow the yellow brick road, hums Albert Krypton on pitch. Follow the yellow brick road. What's this? Is he actually... Yes, he's skipping. Presently out of breath, they arrive at the pier where Badass and its division, 4 haze-gray piglets, are tied up, to find the Runcible Spoon fight just underway at the center. Weaving a cheering crowd, civilian and military drunks. Stringy Avery Purfle, sideburns slick as seal's fur in the pallid light. Adam's Apple working in and out at nervous 4 or 5 cycles a minute. Shuffles around his opponent, the serene and oxlite St. John Blattery, both with Runcible spoons in the on-guard position, filed edges bright. Krypton stashes Slothrop in a garbage bin and goes looking for Seaman Bodine. After a number of short, glittering feints, Purfle dodges in, quick as a fighting cock. With a high slash that Blattery tries to parry in the third, Purfle rips through the commando's blouse and draws blood. But when he goes to jump back, it seems thoughtful Blattery has brought his combat boot down on the American's low dress shoe, nailing him there where he stands. Promoter Bodine and his 2 combatants are burning crystals of awareness in this poison-gray gathering. A good half of the crowd are out in the foothills of unconsciousness, and the rest are not exactly sure what's going on. Some think that Purfle and Blattery are really mad at each other. Others feel that it's meant to be a comedy and that they will laugh at inappropriate moments. Now and then odd, beady eyes will appear up in the night superstructures of the warships, staring. Purfle and Blattery have made simultaneous thrusts and are now core. With a scrape and clank, the Runcible spoons are locked and elbows tense and set. The outcome rests with scrawny Purfle's gift for trickery, since Blattery appears ready to hold the position all night. Rocket Man's here, Krypton tugging at Bodine's damp wrinkled collar. In a pig suit. Not now, man, you got the, But the heat's after him, Bodine. Where can we hide him? Who cares? It's some asshole is all. A fake. Rocket Man wouldn't be here. Purfle yanks his Runcible spoon back, leaning to the side, twisting out his own weapon to keep in tines with the interlocked of those of Blattery's, pulling the commando off balance long enough to release his own foot, then deftly unlinking the spoons and dancing away. Blattery recovers his footing and moves heavily in pursuit, probing with a series of jabs, then shifting the spoon to his other hand and surprising Purfle with a slash that grazes the sailor's neck, missing the jugular but not by much. Blood drips into the white jumper, black under the arc lights. Sweat and cold shadows lie darkly in the men's armpits. Purfle, made reckless by the pain, goes flying at Blattery, a flurry of blind wild pokes and hackings. Blattery hardly needing to move his feet, weaving from the knees up like a great assured pudding, finally able to grab Purfle's spoon hand and the wrist and twirl him about like jitterbugging a girl around in front of him, his own knife edge now and bisecting Purfle's Adam's apple, ready to slice in. He looks up, around, wheezing, sweaty. seeking some locus of power that will thumb signal him what to do. Nothing. Only sleep, vomiting, shivering, a ghost and flowered odor of ethanol. Solid Bodine counting his money. Not really watching. It then comes to Blattery and Purple at once, turn to one another at the filed edge of this runcible spoon, and the negligible effort it would take to fill their common world with death, that nobody said anything about a fight to the finish, right? That each will get a part of the purse, whoever wins. And so this sensible course is to break it up now, jointly to go hassle Bodine, and find some band-aids and iodine, and still they linger in their embrace, death in all its potency, humming them romantic tunes, chiding them for moderate little men, so far and no further. Is that it? You call that living? An MP car, horn and siren and lights all going, approaches. Reluctantly, Purple and Blattery do relax, and sighing out of puffed cheeks, part. Bodine, 10 feet away, tosses over the heads of the awakening crowd a fat packet of scrip which the commando catches, riffle splits, and gives half to Purple, who's already en route to the gangplank of his grey mother, Johnny Badass, where the quarterdeck watch are looking more lively, and even a card game in the ship's laundry breaking up so everybody can go watch the big bust. Drunkards ashore beginning to mill, sluggish and with no sense of direction. From beyond the pale of electric light comes a rush of girls, shivering, aroused, beruffled, to watch St. John Blattery away under cover of pretty pastel synthetics and amorous squeals. Bodine and Krypton hip-wriggling and cursing their way through the crowd, stumbling over wakers and sleepers, stopped by the dumpster to collect Slothrop, who rises from a pile of eggshells, beer cans, horrible chicken parts and yellow gravy, coffee grounds, and waste paper spilling on, clattering off of him, raises his mask and smiles howdy at Bodine. "Rocket Man, holy shit, it really is. What's happening, old buddy? Been double-crossed, need a ride to Putsy's." Lorries have been showing up into the canvas shadows. MPs are beginning to load everybody slower moving than they. Now 2 civilians, one with a beard, comes charging down the pier, hollering, "A pig suit, a pig suit! There, look! And you, Slothrop, stay where you are!" Not about to. Slothrop, with a great clank and crunch, rolls out of the garbage at the end of a dead run, follows Bodine and Krypton, chicken fat flowing away, eggshells flying behind him. A Red Cross clubmobile or canteen truck is parked down at the next of the destroyers, its light spilling neatly square on the asphalt. A pretty girl with Deanna Durbin hairdo framed inside against stacks of candy bars, cigarettes, chalk-shaped sandwiches, and wax paper. "Coffee, boys?" she smiles. "How about some sandwiches? We're sold out of everything tonight but ham." Then seeing Slothrop, "Oh dear, I'm sorry." "Keys to the truck," Bodine coming up with a Cagney sneer and a nickel-plated handgun. "Come on," cock of the hammer. Tough frown, shoulder-padded shrug. "In the ignition, Jackson." Albert Krypton climbs in the back to keep her company, while Slothrop and Bodine jump in up front and get underway in a tight, screeching U-turn just as the 2 civilians come running up. "Now who the hell's that?" Slothrop looking back out the window, their shouting shapes diminishing. "Did you check that one bird with the ace of spades on his cheek?" Bodine swerves past the disturbance around Johnny Badass and gives everybody the obligatory finger. Slothrop slouches back in the seat, putting the pig mask up like a knight's beaver, reaching over to pry a pack of cigarettes out of Bodine's jumper pocket, lighting one up, weary, wishing he could sleep. In the back of him, suddenly, Red Cross girl shrieks, "My God, what is this?" "Look," Krypton says patiently, "you get some on the end of your finger, right? Then you close one half of your nose, and it's cocaine," the girl's voice rising to an alarming intensity, "is what it is. It's heroin. You're dope fiends, and you've kidnapped me. Oh my God, don't you realize this is a Red Cross clubmobile? It's a property of the Red Cross. Oh, you can't do this. What with the Red Cross? Oh, somebody help me. They're dope fiends. Oh, please help. Stop and let me out. Take the truck if you want. Take everything in it, but please don't." "Steer a minute," Bodine turning around and pointing a shiny pistol at the girl. "You can't shoot me," she screams, "you hoodlum. Who do you think you are, hijacking Red Cross property? Why don't you just go somewhere and sniff your dope and leave us alone?" "Cunt," advises Seaman Bodine in a calm and reasonable tone. "You are wrong. I can shoot you, right? Now you happen to be working for the same warm and wonderful organization that was charging 15 cents for coffee and donuts at the Battle of the fucking Bulge, if you really want to get into who's stealing from who." "Whom?" she replies in a much smaller voice, lower lip quivering. Kind of cute and bitchy it seems to Slothrop, checking it out in the rearview mirror as Bodine takes over the wheel again. "Oh no, what's this?" Krypton watching her ass. "What have we here?" Shifting under his khaki skirt as she stands with long legs braced for their rattling, creaking 60 or 70 miles an hour at Bodine's strange cornering techniques. which looked to be some stylized form of suicide. "What's your name?" Slothrop, smiling an avuncular pig. "Shirley." "Tyrone, howdy." Tra-la-la, Krypton now looting the cash register, gobbing Hershey bars, and stuffing his socks with packs of smoke. Love in bloom. About then, Bodine slams on the brakes and goes into a great skid, ass end of their truck slewing toward an icy lit tableau of sentries. White stenciled helmet liners, white belts, white holsters, a barricade across the road, an officer running toward the jeep, hunched up and hollering into a walkie-talkie. "Roadblock, what the shit?" Bodine grinding into reverse, various goodies for the troops crashing off their shelves as the truck lurches around. Shirley loses her footing and staggers forward, Krypton grabbing for her as Slothrop leans to take the handgun off the dashboard, finding her half draped over the front seat when he gets back around to the window. "Where the fuck is Low now? What is it, Red Cross gearbox you gotta put a nickel in someplace to get a gear? Hey, Shirley." "Oh, goodness," Shirley says, squirming over into the front between them, grabbing the shift. "Like this, you drip." Gunshots behind them. "Thank you," says Bodine, and leaving rubber in a pungent smoking shriek, they're off again. "You're really hot, Rocket Man. Wow," Krypton lying in the back offering ankle and taped cocaine bottles to Shirley with a smile. "Do tell." "No thanks," says Shirley. "I'd really better not." "Come on, Were those snowdrops back there?" Slothrop squinting into the lampshade ahead. "GIs? What are GIs doing here in the British sector, do you know?" "Maybe not," Bodine guesses. "Maybe only shore patrol. Come on, let's not get any more paranoid than we have to." "Look, see, I'm doing it and I'm growing fangs or anything." "Well, I just don't know." Shirley kneeling backwards, breast propped on the back of the seat, one big smooth country girl hand on Slothrop's shoulder for balance. "Look," Bodine says, "is it currency or dope or what? I just like to know what to expect, because if the heat's on..." "Only on me, as far as I know. This has nothing to do with dealing. It's a whole different drill." "She's the Rose of No Man's Land," sang Albert Krypton coaxing. "Why are you going to Putsy's?" "Got to see that Springer. Didn't know he was coming in." "Why does everybody keep saying that?" "Rubber Dow," Shirley taking off with one nostril here. "Dot to book." "Albert, just a teensy bit?" "Just that nobody's seen him for a while." "Be inhaling now." Good, okay, now! There's still a little, kind of booger that's blocking it. Do it again, right? Now the other one." "Albert, you said only one." "Look, Rocky, if you don't get busted..." "Don't want to think." "Jeepers," says Shirley. "You like that, or just do a little more?" "What'd you do?" "Nothing. Wanted to talk to somebody at Spog. Find out what was happening. We were just supposed to talk, you know, off the record tonight in the dispensary, neutral ground, instead of the man shows up. Now there are also 2 creeps and civvies. You a spy or something? Wish I was even that. Oh boy, I should have known better." "Well, it sounds pretty bad." Seaman Bodine drives along, not liking it much, brooding, growing sentimental. "Say," presently, "if they do, well, catch up with you, I could get in touch with your mom or something." "Might." A sharp look. No. "Well, somebody. Can't think of a soul." "Wow, Rocket Man." Putsy's turns out to be a sprawling, half-fortified manor house dating from the last century. Off the Durham Road and seaward down a sandy pair of wheel tracks with reeds and tough dune grass growing in between, the house perched like a raft atop a giant comber of sandhill that sweeps upward from the beach, whose grade is so subtle that it becomes water only by surprise, tranquil, salt pale, stretching miles into the North Sea like clouds. Here and there more silver, long cell or skin shapes, tissue thin, stilled under the moon, reaching out toward Helgoland. The place never got requisitioned. Nobody has ever seen the owner, or even knows if Putsy is anybody real. Bodine drives the truck right into what used to be the stable, and they all get out, Shirley hoo-hawing in the moonlight, Krypton mumbling, oh boy, through big mouthfuls of the frobate. There's some password and security hassle at the door on account of the pig get-up as Slothrop flashes his white plastic knight, and that works. Inside, they find a brightly lit and busy combination bar, opium den, cabaret, casino, and house of ill repute. All its rooms swarming with soldiers, sailors, dames, tricks, winners, losers, conjurers, dealers, dopers, voyeurs, homosexuals, fetishists, spies, and folks just looking for company. All talking, singing, or raising hell at a noise level the house's silent walls seal off completely from the outside. Perfume, smoke, alcohol, and sweat glide through the house, and turbulence is too gentle to feel or see. It's a floating celebration no one's thought to adjourn. A victory party so permanent, so easy at gathering newcomer and old regular to itself, that who can say for sure which victory, which war. Springer is nowhere in sight. and from what Slothrop can gather from random questioning won't be by till later, if at all. Now, this happens to be the very delivery date for the discharge that they arranged, sailing in with Frau Nab to Strassland, and tonight of all nights, after a week of not bothering him, the police decide to come after Slothrop. Oh yes, indeed. Good evening, Tyrone Slothrop. We have been waiting for you. Of course we are here. You didn't think we had just faded away. No, Tyrone, we must hurt you again. If you are going to be that stupid, hurt you again. Yes, Tyrone, you are so hopeless, so stupid and doomed. Are you really supposed to find anything? What if it is death, Tyrone? What if we don't want you to find anything? If we don't want to give you your discharge, you'll just go on like this forever, won't you? Maybe we want you to, only to keep you on. You don't know, do you, Tyrone? What makes you think you can play as well as we can? You can't. You think you're good, but you're really shit, and we all know it. That it is in your dossier. Laughter, humming. Bodine finds him sitting inside a coat closet, chewing on a velvet ear of his mask. You look bad, Rocky. This is Solange. She's a masseuse. She's smiling, quizzical, a child brought to visit the weird pig in his cave. I'm sorry. Let me take you down to the baths, the woman's voice, a soapy sponge already caressing his troubles. It's very quiet, restful. I'll be around all night, Bodine says. I'll tell you if Springer shows. This is some kind of plot, right? Slothrop sucking saliva from a velvet pile. Everything is some kind of a plot, man, Bodine laughing. And yes, but the arrows are pointing all different ways, Solange illustrates with a dance of hands, red-pointed finger vectors. Which is Slothrop's first news out loud that the zone can sustain many other plots besides those polarized upon himself. That these are the L's and buses of an enormous transit system here in the Rakattenstadt, more tangled even than Boston's, and that by riding each branch the proper distance, knowing when to transfer, keeping some state of minimum grace, though it might often look he's headed the wrong way, this network of all plots may yet carry him to freedom. He understands that he should not be so paranoid of either Bodine or Solange, but ride instead their kind underground a while, and see where it takes him. Solange leads Slothrop off to the baths, and Bodine continues to search for his customer, 2.5 bottles of cocaine clinking and clammy against his bare stomach under the skivvy shirt. The Major isn't at any of the poker games, crap games, nor attending the floor where one Yolande, blonde and shining all over with baby oil, dances table to table, picking up florin pieces and sovereigns, often hot from the flame of some joker's Zippo between the prehensile lips of her cunt. Nor is he drinking, nor, according to Monica, Putsy's genial cigar-smoking, matelas-suited madame, is he screwing. He hasn't even been by to hassle the piano player for a San Antonio rose. It takes Bodine half an hour before colliding with the man, finally, reeling out of the swinging doors of the pissoir, groggy from the confrontation with the notorious Eisenkroat, known throughout the zone as the ultimate test of manhood. Before which, bemedaled and brevetted kraut killers, as well as the baddest shit on my dick or blood on my blade escapees from the grossest of zonal stockades, all have been known to shrink, swoon, chicken out, and on occasion vomit, yes, right where they stood. For it is indeed an iron toad, faithfully rendered, thousand warded, and some say faintly smiling, a foot long at its longest, lurking at the bottom of a rank shit-stained toilet, and hooked up to the European grid through a rheostat control rigged to deliver varying, though not lethal, surges of voltage and current. No one knows who sits behind the secret rheostat. Some say it's the half-mythical Putsy himself, or if it isn't in fact hooked up to an automatic timer, for not everybody gets caught. Really, you can piss on the toad without anything happening at all, but you just never know. Often enough to matter. The current will be there, piranha raid, and salmon climbing up the gold-glittering fall of your piss, your treacherous ladder of salts and acids, bringing you into touch with Mother Ground, the great planetary pool of electrons, making you one with your prototype, the legendary poor drunk, too drunk to know anything, pissing on some long-ago third rail and fulminated to charcoal, to epileptic night, his scream not even his own, but the electricities, the amps speaking through his already shattering vessel, shattered too soon for them even to begin to say it, voice their terrible release from silence, nobody listening anyhow, some watchman poking down the track, some old man unable to sleep out for a walk, some city drifter on a bench under a million June bugs in green nimbus around the streetlight, his neck relaxing and tightening, in and out of dreams, and maybe it was only a cat screwing, a church bell in high wind, a window being broken, no direction to it, not even alarming, replaced swiftly by the old coal gas and Lysol silence. And somebody else finds him the next morning, or you can find him any night at Putsy's if you're man enough to go in and piss on that toad. The Major has got off this time with only a mild jolt and is in a self-congratulating mood. Ugly sucker tried his best, wrapping an arm around Bodine's neck, but got his warty ass handed to him tonight. Damn if he didn't. Got your snow, Major Marvy. Half a bottle shy. Sorry, it's the best I could do. That's all right, sailor. I know how many nose habits between here and Weisenbad you'd had to deal with. 3 ton, and that would have been the last suckers a day. He pays off Bodine full price, overriding Bodine's offer to prorate for what's missing. Call it a little lagniappe, good buddy. That's Duane Marvy's way of doing things. Damn, that old toad's got my pecker to feeling pretty good right now. Damn if I wouldn't like to stick it inside of one of those little whores. Hey, boats, where can I find me some pussy around here? The sailor shows him how to get downstairs to the whorehouse. They take you into a kind of private steam bath first. You can screw right there if you want. Doesn't cost any extra. The madam, hey, haha, looks like some kind of a dyke with that stogie in her face, raises an eyebrow at Marvy when he tells her he wants a nigger but thinks she can get a hold of one. It isn't the house of all nations, but we do aim for variety, running the tortoise end of her cigar holder down a call sheet. Sandra is engaged for the moment in exhibition. In the meantime, here is our delightful Manuela to keep you company. Manuela is wearing only a high comb and black lace mantilla, shadow flowers falling to her hips, a professional smile for the fat American, who is already fumbling with uniform buttons. Hubba, hubba, hey, she's pretty sunburned herself, ain't ya? You got a little mulatto in there, a little Mexicano, honey? You sabe Espanol, you sabe fucky? Si, deciding tonight to be from Levant. I am Spanish, I am from Valencia. Valencia, sings Major Marvy to the well-known tune of the same name. Senorita fucky sucky 69 la 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 la, dancing her in a brief two-step about the grave center of the waiting madam. Manuela doesn't feel obliged to join in. Valencia was one of the last cities to fall to Franco. She herself is really from the Asturias, which knew him first, felt his cruelty 2 years before the Civil War, even began for the rest of Spain. She watches Marvy's face as he pays Monica, watches him in this primal American act, paying more deeply himself than when coming or asleep or maybe even dying. Marvy isn't her first, but almost her first American. The clientele here at Putsy's is mostly British. During the war, how many camps and cities since her capture in 1938? It was German. She missed the international brigades, shut away in her cold green mountains and fighting hit and run long after the fascists had occupied all the north. Missed the flowers, children, kisses, and many tongues of Barcelona, Valencia, where she's never been. Valencia, this evening's home. Yes, salimos de España. Pluchar en otros frentes a Manuela. She hangs his uniform neatly in a closet and follows her trick into heat, bright steam, the walls of seething room invisible, feathered hairs upon his legs, enormous buttocks and back beginning to come dark with dampness. Other souls move, sigh, groan, unseen among the sheets of fog, dimensions in here under the earth meaningless. The room could be any size, an entire city's breadth, paved with birds not entirely gentle and twofold rotational symmetry, a foot darkened yellow and blue, the only colors to its watery twilight. Ah, hot damn, Marvy slithering fatly down, sleek with sweat, over the tiled edge into the scented water. His toenails cut, army square, slide under last. Come on, everybody, in the pool. A great happy bellow, seizing Manuela's ankle and tugging. Having taken a fall or two on these tiles and seen a girlfriend go into traction, Manuela comes along gracefully, falling hard enough astraddle, bottom hitting the stomach with a loud smack to hurt him, she hopes. But he only laughs again, loudly abandoned to the warmth and buoyancy and sounds encompassing. Anonymous fucking drowsiness ease, finds himself with a thick red hard-on and slips it without ado into the solemn girl half hidden inside her cloud of damp black Spanish lace, eyes any place but on his, a swing now through the interior fog, dreaming of home. Well, that's all right. He isn't fucking her eyes, is he? He'd rather not have to look at her face anyhow. All he wants is the brown skin, the shut mouth, that sweet and nigger submissiveness. She'll do anything he orders. Yeah, he can hold her head under the water till she drowns. He can bend her hand back. Yeah, break her fingers like that cunt in Frankfurt the other week. Pistol whip, bite till blood comes. Visions go swarming, violent, less erotic than you think. More occupied with thirst, impact, penetration, and other such military values. Which is not to say he isn't enjoying himself innocently as you do, or that Manuela doesn't find herself too in some casual, athletic way, liking to ride up and down the stubborn red shaft of Major Marvy. Though her mind is on 1,000 other things now, a frock of Sanders that she covets, words to various songs, an itch below her left shoulder blade, a tall English soldier she saw come through the bar around supper time, his brown forearm shirt rolled up to the elbow against the zinc top of the table. Voices in the steam, alarms, many feet clopping in the showers, silhouettes moving by, a grey, cloudy evacuation. What in the hell? Major Marvy, about to come, rising off his elbows, distracted, squinting in several directions, or rapidly getting a soft off. Raid! A voice going past. MPs! Shivers somebody else. Gah! Screams Major Marvy, who has just recalled the presence of 2.5 ounces of cocaine in his uniform pockets. He rolls walrus heavy, Manuela sliding away from and off his limping, nervous penis, hardly aroused, but enough of a professional to feel the price includes a token, puto, and sinvergunza now. Scrambling up out of the water, skidding on the tiles, Duane Marvy, bringing up the rear, emerges into an ice-cold changing room to find the last of the bathers fled, the closets stone empty except for one multicolored velvet something or other. Hey, where's my uniform? Stomping on the floor, fists at his side, face very red. Oh, you motherless bastards! Thereupon throwing several bottles and ashtrays, breaking 2 windows, attacking the wall with an ornate umbrella stand, feeling better in his mind. He hears combat boots crashing overhead, and in rooms nearby a girl screaming, a phonograph record knocked screeching into silence. He checks out this plush or velvet rig, finds it to be a pig costume, complete with mask, considers shyly that no MP would bother an innocent, fun-seeking pig. As humorless, limey voices move closer through the room of putsies, he rips fanatically at the silk lining and straw padding to make room for his own fat, and struggled at last inside. Whew, zipped up, mask hiding face, safe, clownish, anonymous. Pushes out through the bead curtains, then upstairs to the bar, only to run spang into a full division of the red-hatted suckers coming his way, all in step, swear to God. Here's our elusive swine, gentlemen. Pocked face, blunt and ragged mustache, pointing a pistol right at his head. Others moving quickly. A civilian comes pushing through, spade-shaped blazing dark on his smooth right cheek. Right, Dr. Muffage is outside at the ambulance, and we'd like 2 of your chaps for a moment, Sergeant, till we're all secure. Certainly, sir. Wrists weak from steam and comfort gathered skillfully behind his back before he can even get mad and start yelling at them. Cold steel ratcheting like a phone number being dialed late at night with no hope in hell of any answer, ever. God damn, he finally gets out, mask muffling his voice, giving it an echo that hurts his ears. What in the hell's wrong with you, boy? Don't you know who I am? But wait a minute. If they've found your uniform, Marvy, and Marvy ID, and cocaine in the same set of pockets, maybe it isn't such a hot idea to tell them his name just yet. Lieutenant Slothrop, we presume. Come along now. He keeps silent. Slothrop, okay. We'll just wait and see what the score is. Square the dope thing later. Play dumb. Say it might have been planted. Maybe even find him a Jewish lawyer good enough to nail the suckers for false arrest. He's escorted out the door and into an idling ambulance. The bearded driver gives him a quick over-the-shoulder glance, then lets in the clutch. Before he can think to struggle, the other civilian and the MPs have quickly strapped Marvy at the knees and chest to a stretcher. A pause by an army lorry to let the MPs off again. Then they continue on, toward Cuxhaven, Marvy thinks. Nothing but night. Moon softened blackness out the window. Can't tell. Sedation now? Ace of Spades crouches beside him, shining a pocket flashlight over ampules in his kit, rattling syringes and points. Yes, we're almost there. I don't see why they couldn't have just given us a hospital for this. The driver laughs. Oh yes, I can just see that. Filling the hypodermic slowly. We are under orders. I mean, there's nothing... Dear chap, it's not the most respectable operation. Hey, Major Marvy tries to raise his head. Operation? What's this, boy? Shh, ripping away part of the pig sleeve bearing Marvy's arm. I don't want no needle, but it's already in the vein and discharging as the other man seeks to calm him. I mean, you really got the wrong fella, you know. Of course, Lieutenant. Hey, no, not me, I'm Major. He should be more emphatic about this, more convincing. Maybe it's the sucking pig mask in the way. Only you can hear his voice now given back entirely to himself, flat or metallic. They can't hear him. Major Duane Marvy. They don't believe him. Don't believe his name. Not even his name. Panic strikes him, deeper than the sedative of his reach. and he begins to buck truly in terror against the straps, feeling small muscles along his chest stretch into useless twinges of pain. Oh God, beginning to scream now with all his might, no words, only cries as loud as the strap across his chest will let him. For pity's sake, the driver sighs, can't you shut him up, Spontoon? Spontoon has already ripped the pig mask away and replaced it with one of gauze, which he holds on with one hand while dripping away either side whenever the thrashing head comes within range. Pointsman has taken leave of his senses, he feels obliged to say, irritated out of all patience, if he calls this a calm imperturbable. All right, we're on the Strand now, no one in sight. Muffage drives down toward the water, the sand just solid enough to hold the ambulance, everything very white in the small room which is at its zenith. Perfect ice. Oh, Marvy moans. Oh, fuck, oh no, oh Jesus, the words in long, drugged diminuendo, struggles against his bonds, weakening as Muffage parks them at last, an olive-drab derelict tiny on his broad beach, the enormous slick stretching away moonward to the threshold of north wind. Plenty of time, Muffage looking at his watch. We're catching the C-47 at 1. They say they could hold up for a bit, sighs of comfort before turning to their task. The man's connections, Spontoon shaking his head, removing the instruments from their disinfectant solution and laying them on a sterile cloth by the stretcher. My, let's hope he never turns to a life of crime, eh? Fuck, groans Major Marvy softly. Oh, fuck me, will you? Both men have scrubbed and donned masks and rubber gloves. Muffage has switched on a dome light which stares down a soft, radiant eye. The two work quickly in silence, two wartime pros used to field expediency, with only an occasional word from the patients, a whisper, a white pathetic grope in his ether darkness after receding to a point of light that's all he has left of him. It's a simple procedure. The crotch of the velvet costume is torn away. Muffage decides to dispense with shaving the scrotum. He douses it first with iodine, then squeezes in turn each testicle against the red-veined and hairy bag, makes the incision quickly, cleanly through the skin and surrounding membranes, popping the testicle itself out through the wound in welling blood, pulling it out with his left hand till the cords, hard and soft, are strung visible under the light. As if they are musical strings, he might, a trifle moon-mad, strum here on the empty beach into appropriate music. His hand hesitates, but then, reluctantly bowing to duty, he severs them at the proper distances from the slippery stone, each incision then being bathed in disinfectant, and the two neat slits side by side finally sutured up again. The testicles are plopped into a bottle of alcohol. Souvenirs for pointsman, Muffage sighs, stripping the surgical gloves. Give that one another shot. Might be better if he sleeps through and someone back in London explains this to him. Muffage starts up the motor, back in a half circle, and slowly heads back towards the road, the vast sea lying still behind. Back at Putsy's, Slothrop curls in a wide, crisp-sheeted bed beside Solange, asleep and dreaming of Zwolfkinder and Bianca smiling. He and she riding on the wheel, their compartment become a room, one he's never seen, a room in a great complex of apartments big as a city, whose corridors can be driven or bicycled along like streets, trees lining them and birds singing in the trees. And Solange, oddly enough, is dreaming of Bianca too, though under a different aspect. It's of her own child, Ilsa, riding lost through the zone on a long freight train that never seems to come to rest. She isn't unhappy, nor is she searching exactly for her father, but Lenny's early dream is for her coming true. She will not be used. There is change and departure, but there is also help when least looked for from the strangers of the day, and hiding, out among the accidents of this drifting humility, never quite to be extinguished, a few small chances for mercy. Upstairs, one Muehlner, valise full of his night's treasures, an American major's uniform and papers, and 2.5 ounces of cocaine, explains to the shaggy American sailor that Herr von Gull is a very busy man, attending to business in the north as far as he knows, and has not commissioned him to bring to Cuxhaven any kind of papers, no military discharge, passports, nothing. He's sorry. Perhaps the sailor's friend is mistaken. Perhaps, again, it's only a temporary delay. One appreciates that forgeries take time. Bodine watches him leave, unaware of what's inside the valise. Albert Krypton has drunken himself unconscious. Shirley comes wandering in, bright-eyed and restless, wearing a black garter belt and stockings. She says with a certain look. Says Seaman Bodine. And anyway, it was only 10 cents at the Battle of the Bulge. All right.